last thing that we did before.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is we are going to have you put and we'll do this towards the end of the session here. We'll get some of this other work done first, and let's go back to that so we can certainly correct that and then work to get a permanent fix on it. So I'm just going to tell you up front while you're bridling. Oh, and one of the things I was going to kind of talk to you about is I see you're bridling or saddling him without a bridle or a halter on, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, provided he stands still. But I saw him starting to move back 2 or 3 steps when he doesn't like it. We want him to stand in one spot. So if you have to keep him haltered for a while and correct him, even when he moves a foot back, bring that foot back up. He needs to stand exactly where you want him without moving.
Okay.
So if you have to do that, do it. I mean, it's great that he's standing like that, but he's not standing perfectly.
Okay.
And so, we got some conversation going on here about, looks like, we've got some occasional technical problems. Looks like the sound is coming in and out a little bit. Maybe the picture's in and out, so kind of hang with us. But, that's really good. So apparently this happened last time I was here. So, it's my fault. Okay, so let's, what we're going to do is I'm going to have you take like a chunk of paper towel and fold it into thirds, and then you'll wrap that around, and this is what we'll do later. We'll wrap that around his pastern on those hinds.
Okay.
And then we'll put duct tape around it, and so that it protects his foot. And then we're just going to put a long lead rope on that foot and let him drag that for a bit. We'll just watch him do it. And we'll do both feet that way. So we're going to take about the last 15 minutes of this session or 20 minutes of this session to go back and work that, because he's obviously okay with the front. He's, mildly okay, but those hinds are unacceptable if he's kicking at it. So we need to make sure that he absolutely is rock solid with that. So that's a way to do that, where again, he can teach himself. And we always know that if they teach themselves things, they seem to learn it better.
Yeah.
Maybe not as quick, but they can learn it long-term better when they get over it. So, so let's go ahead and you got him bridled up. And I would just start right out with, let's just drive him a little bit.
Okay. Good boy.
Okay, now that spider is not ugly, you guys. I know some of those guys, and some of those spiders are my best friends. They're not that bad.
It's still just hanging out there, huh?
He's just hanging there, yeah. You're working around him. It's okay.
We had other camera for a week, and it would just crawl across the screen.
Setting up a residence.
Yeah. I don't know how they get in there.
I think this falls more under the technical aspect of things, so the tech wrangler Jake ought to be taking care of this spider.
I agree. Okay. I don't want to take care of it.
Yeah, it's not my problem. Yeah, he says, yep,
We're promoting you.
A arachno rider. Very good.
It took a while for him to not want to. This is one of the first times he's not spun around with me, follow me.
Well, you got to remember we've been asking him to do is spin around, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it started with putting the rope around his butt and pulling and having him spin.
Yep, that's right.
Following me.
Absolutely, and he's just doing what he knows he's supposed to do. So the first thing we always do when we get on this horse or we do anything is have him back up.
Oh.
So let's ask him to back. There you go. Yeah. Look how he drops that. We should be dropping that head and nose.
Oh, good boy.
Good. As soon as he does it, now go off to the side and praise him physically. Just walk out to the side of him and pet that neck and talk to him, tell him you did a great job, because you're going to want a lot of positive feedback here for him and and some praise.
Okay. Good boy.
And this is where it takes a little while to do this, but they understand the praise. They understand what they're supposed to do, and there's a lot going on here in their little noggins. Okay, so he stopped. Now we can ask him to go whichever way you want him to go. And I would straighten him out so he's not watching you, and make him stand there for a moment before you move. There you go. He just stands. It's okay. He's going to check you out. There you go. There we go. Good job.
Good walk.
And if you need to, when he moves, if he doesn't quite move, and say you're pulling him to the right like you were a little bit there, and he doesn't want to move, go ahead and flip that rein right up onto his butt. And you'll notice, people are watching how close Taryn is to him. If you look at the stride of his legs, she's kind of out there on the very end of that rope, on the loop of it. So she's far enough away from him that if he kicks, he just misses her. Now, I know this is it looks like it's taking a risk, but it is so important to be as close to the horse as you can without getting too close to get kicked. And I have, had reactions from horses where they've kicked, and I've never had one kick me. But it's a little unnerving because it is close. So you want to be careful that you don't run up on him when he does stop, like momentarily there, Taryn.
Okay.
And I know you're watching. I'm watching you race his speed, and you're doing that fine. That's just something that needs to be said so that people are watching. They understand that the distance there is a little bit further than what it looks like on camera, and you really have to get some perspective with his leg length versus the distance away from you that he is. Okay, you're doing pretty good. And then whenever you can, then just cut across the corral, straight across, and then you'll have to turn him to the right to get him to do that. And then when he goes across, halfway, there you go. Now turn him to the left to get him to turn the other direction. There you go. Very good.
Good boy.
Now when you're pulling on him, don't put continual pressure on his mouth. You just bump his mouth to get him to come around. Just bump it.
Okay.
And let go. Bump, let go. Bump, let go. I mean, just the amount of time that it takes you, enough pressure, and the length of pressure is just momentary as the amount of time it takes you to clap your hands. Just that kind of a bump. Okay. That's what's going to give him a light mouth. So you pulled him, and see how he pulled his head away from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pulling in that resistance. So if you bump him, then he'll be less resistance because there's nothing to pull against.
Okay.
And this is the beginning of teaching him to rein. And this is how you can get a lightness of this horse's mouth starts here in this bit on this driving. And so much of it. Go ahead.
He pulls every time I give him a little bump, and he pulls every single time.
Yep, he'll do that because you've been hanging on his mouth a little bit.
So do I hold it until he's not pulling and then let go?
No, you pull it, and if he doesn't resist or doesn't respond, then pull it again and let go, and pull it and let go, pull, let go, just like that until he responds. Then quit pulling.
Okay. And
you may have to hang on it a little bit to get him to turn, but as soon as he starts to turn, then go ahead and let go. And this is where your hands become very, very light, because you're teaching yourself to not be quite as heavy as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that we'll work on with you later too.
Boy.
Now, just go ahead and take him to the left, drive into the center of the or about 2/3 of the way across your corral, and then just stop him, and then have him back up immediately. There you go. And toss that rein on the right side of his hind end if you need to get him to move. There you go. Then you come around.
Oh, back.
And there, yes. Very good job. Very good job. Okay, because what we want them to do now is you're not only building a very light mouth in the horse, you're also building a back on the horse, so that whenever you say whoa, he should know that when she says whoa, that means I have to back up. And in order for me to back, and what he doesn't know is that for order for him to back up, he's got to stop first, right?
Yeah.
So what he doesn't know is that we're asking him to associate whoa really with back up.
Okay.
And that's what puts a really good stop on your horse a very light stop, a nice stop, and that allows you to get this horse to back up easily. So one of the things we're also going to do is we're going to work on, I like to see each foot move at least once initially on a backup and get one good step out of him, and that's great. If you can do that, that's asking a lot, and it's getting a lot. But eventually, we're going to go ahead and drive him right up to the edge of the fence and then back him all the way across there. Because we're going to ask him not to remember how many steps to take, because they do. They get good at counting. They figure it out that, well, I've taken 4 steps because she asked me to take 4 steps, and I've never been asked to take 5 steps. When I get to 4, I stop. And that's why people have difficulty sometimes backing their horses more than normal.
Good boy.
Now, when you go up to him, praise both sides of him. Go up to his offside as well.
Good boy.
There you go.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Good. Thank you. Good boy. So I am a little bit confused. Should I keep him moving? Sorry.
No, this is, you know what? Yes, but making him stand like this is just as important. He should just take direction from you. So we don't want him to just say, "Oh, okay, well, I got to continually move." Stopping, praising after he backs up, and then just stopping for a little bit is perfect. Now you just give him as much time as you want, and he's watching you out of his left eye. I can see that.
Yeah.
So whenever you're ready, what I would do is I like to turn them kind of away from where they're looking so that you get more of an opportunity to teach that direct rein. All we're doing right now is putting the direct rein and teaching him to get to it and respond to it lighter than it was when we were tying his head around. So we want to ask him to turn to the right and turn all the way around. Do about a 270-degree turn and turn to the right. There you go. And you're going to have to kind of keep turning. There you go. And get out of his way. Now you got to walk to the left to get out of his way because we want him to turn the opposite direction. There you go. There you go. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. You're doing great. Good. 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 Now driving forward as he's turning. There you go. Keep moving. There. Now drive forward. Good. Now he was pulling on that, but it's because he was resisting even moving, and that'll get better. It'll get lighter. And I see him grabbing that bit and pulling it. And that's just normal. Try to give that rein completely away to him when you're just not asking him to turn. Don't put any pressure on the bit.
I have a little bit of confusion here because we talk about timing and release of pressure, and it seems to me that the most natural way most natural impulse would be to, if you're asking him to turn, put that pressure on him until he turns or until he gives and then let go. But what you're asking is for me to bump him, and it doesn't necessarily matter if he goes that direction. If he doesn't go that direction, then bump him again. So it seems like those are two different things we're dealing with.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let me put it this way. If you were to ask him to turn and you're holding the bit or holding and pulling on his mouth for a full 4 seconds with continual pressure, you can do that. That's okay. What he'll learn to do is he'll start learning to respond to that bit with resistance because he'll try to take it, right? Because if you pull back on the bit, he tries to nose out and take the bit. So instead of putting for full 4 seconds of continual pull, take that same 4-second interval and bump that rein. Just pull it and release, pull, release, pull, release, pull, release, and you'll probably get about 4 or 5 bumps out of it in that same time span. But it doesn't necessarily give him enough time to take the bit and pull it.
Okay, so I just tried to turn him left and bump him about 10 times, and he's still not turning. Yeah,
pull a little harder, and it's going to be a longer period of time, but you got to pull and release. There, like that. That was better. And now pull harder and just make him pull that head. There you go. You're going to get it. And this is where we're really clunky at. So it's not just you. It is also, it's him, right? That's okay. Yeah. Yep. Follow through, pull to that right, make him pull right on around. There you go.
Okay.
And it's going to be very clunky, Karen. It's just what it is. Okay. And I've never found one that wasn't very, very clunky that first, few times.
Good boy.
And if you have to pull a little harder and release, that's okay too, because you want to make a definite pull. Because we're teaching him to pull on a direct rein, and we will correct that later, and we will get away from the direct rein and go more towards the neck rein. But that's all work that we're doing when we're on his back.
Okay.
Did that help? Did that clarify that any better for you?
Yeah, it does. It does help a lot. I just think I need to do it a few times successfully before it really clicks. Because I just see him throwing his head more. Good boy. But I mean, it seems like it's getting better. I just have to keep doing it until it makes sense.
And to be honest with you, I at this point I'm watching myself that I'm doing the correct cues probably more than I'm paying attention to what he's doing, other than whether he's listening to it or not. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm really, really cognizant of what I'm doing to affect his movement, because it's so important. And I see some slack there. And when you pull there's more slack. There you go. I like the amount of slack that's there. And it takes a little bit to pull it up and get that pressure and then pull him in, but completely letting go of that so there's no pressure in that line, he will quit nosing that most likely. Now, I have had horses that continually nose out on that bit for a good amount of time, even once I've been riding them for a while. You just kind of forget about it, ignore it, and keep coming back. Oh, nice stop and back.
Yes. I didn't ask you, but you did it.
Well, that's okay. That's okay, because he's already starting to associate that when I stop, I need to back up, and that's exactly where you want to be.
Oh. Good boy.
Much better. Okay. Now let's just see if you can do a figure 8.
Okay.
And you'll notice how you're having to walk kind of off to the side of his hind end to stay right behind him.
Yeah.
And just keep bumping him around. Keep on coming. There you go. There you go. That was a lot better turn. You feel that?
Yeah, it felt smoother.
Yes, and we're getting past that clunkiness. There you go. He stopped, and yeah, you want to keep driving. Good. See the confusion on him. I can see it on his movement. How he's just a little bit confused with that face. There, you're getting better. He's not fighting that quite as much.
Good boy.
I think you're putting it together too, and I think that's what's making the difference here. You're not giving him anything to resist against, and he'll give up on that. There's a kind of resistance. He's feeling it out.
Yeah, I think the confusion that's going on right now is he's kind of almost like overachieving. Like he turns, and then he wants to keep turning, and then when we switch directions, he gets confused, I think.
Yes. Well, that's right.
Good boy. So he just keeps turning. Good boy.
Very good. I don't see him searching for that bit quite as much as he was earlier, because you're letting him go.
Yeah.
And this is going to make a horse that's light, and that's our whole goal with this, is to be light in our hands.
Well, he does jerk still, but it's getting better.
It's getting better, and it will. It's just these first few times are tough like this.
It seems to be that it happens in the change of direction.
Yes, that's right.
Good boy. Good. Good boy. Good boy.
that everything you're doing here is going to translate to those first half a dozen rides, because it's all about direct rein and this is nothing more than be able to control him and to the best of our ability to get him to turn and to stop.
Good boy.
Because those first few times when we're on their back, we really don't care whether or not they back up necessarily. I'm going to ask them, but that's not something that's going to be vital to keeping us safe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about you're here and you're going to go there anyway, so you want to get as many directional changes as you can on your request. But the most important thing is for stopping and turning, because you can, if they take off running and bolt with you, at least you can turn them in a direction with a direct rein and just turn. Everybody knows that a circle just comes right back around to where you were before, and that's, just keep riding through it. Sometimes in those cases, being on their back is the safest place you can be.
Okay. Good boy.
And this is all about prepping. Now, the reason I don't like to do too much of this, I like to do 5, 6 reinings or drivings like this, because what you start to do is you start to develop the direct rein too much, and then when you're on their back, what you do is you find that he's only going to respond, or he responds really well to a direct rein, because that's what he's after, or what he's been building muscle memory to do. Our goal is to make this horse neck rein, so we want to have that transition as quickly as possible when we're on their back. Now, the first time that you actually sit in the saddle with him and we make him move, I'm going to ask you to do a neck rein with him.